What's going on, world? AJ here. Welcome to a new episode of AJ Tech. I know it's been a hot minute since I've been doing the videos and stuff, but we're back. Just been pretty busy and bogged down with things. But here we are. Here we are. In my hands is the Linksys EA7300 home Wi-Fi router. This was, as you can see, was operating my home network, and it's no longer. We've upgraded as of November 2nd, we got a new router in the house, had to re-IP address stuff because it did a different default address on me and all that good stuff. We picked up the TP-Link Archer AX55, and we'll get into this. Get yourself a beverage, right here, sit back, relax, and let's talk about these routers. Let's talk about this old router here for just a moment. The Linksys EA7300 home Wi-Fi router. It's not a bad router. It's actually been pretty decent. This has been a very good router. It's been in my home environment for 8 years. 8 long years. Probably exceeded its lifespan, honestly, because about the average router for consumer graded is about 3 to 5 years. Now, I pushed it to the max here at this last bit. I felt it was time to upgrade because I've noticed my TV is still doing the bufferings here and there because, I have an Ethernet cable. I figured, and that did help. It did help some. But it still continued. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time because I've been pushing its limits to the wall. And it's not a bad router still. It still can operate. It still can work. It still can do the jobs. It has 4 LAN ports on the back. It has the ISP port back here. It has a USB 3.0 for attached storage. It's still decent. It does dual band. It's 2.4 gigahertz. It's 5 gigahertz SSIDs that you have. You could also have a guest network. It can do some VLANing, if you're into that thing for your environment. But, my 500 megabits per second plan, even though it had a 1 gig, internet port here, I wasn't getting all that. I was getting about the average between 200 to 300 megabits per second. I wasn't getting my full 500. What's up with that? All right. Now, even with the newer router, I'm not getting exactly the full amount, but it's a lot higher than what it was. I'm hitting the 300 to 400 range or more. For that now. So I'm getting my money's worth now with the new router, which is great. But I don't even recall when I purchased this one here. I guesstimate about 2017. I believe this thing came out around 2016. Yeah, but like I said, I already spat about the features about it. It has Wi-Fi 5, meaning 5th generation. We're up to 7 right now, and 7 recently just came out, I think this year, last year. I don't quite remember exactly when it came out, but it's fairly new and recent. The one I did pick up here for the links for the TP-Link AX55 Archer AX55. It's a Wi-Fi 6th generation. So I went with 6 mainly because it's commonly widely used now and it's nothing too new. So I was like, I'll stick with that one because it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. It's going to hang around for a while still. But we'll talk about the specs on this thing in just a moment. And also the thing about the Linksys router, while we're talking about that, the app. The app is awesome. The app was great. But I love the TP-Link tethered app because it gives me alerts on when new devices join my network. And I'm like, ooh, and I have the power to block them. I have a lot of power with the app. It's so amazing. It's so great. Even the web-based interface is pretty cool. I'm not going to showcase that on this video. There'll probably be another video once I figure out how to do some workarounds with recording things on it and such, because I don't want to expose some sensitive information that's on the router. But anywho, we're just going to strictly talk about the devices here. Like I said, I already list off all these already of Wi-Fi 5, 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, all that good stuff. 4 LAN ports on there, 1 WAN port, USB 3.0. Basically, what this thing has as well. It has basically a lot of the similar things, but more. But more. So again, this device is just hitting its peak. It did its job. It can still do jobs. And it's going to be relegated to as a lab environment type of deal. So I'm going to repurpose this router for labbing and just experimentational stuff. All right. So that's going to be the cool part about it. But looking at this TP-Link here, looking at this box, man, this is cool looking, and it's smaller than this one, so it's not as bulky. Width wise, it's the same. It has 4 antennas on it, and it does a lot of stuff, a lot of features. Now let's look at the print on the box, shall we? It says faster, broader, unstoppable, Wi-Fi 6, brother. Oh, all right. Consider reading that type of voicage right here. Super fast Wi-Fi, 8K speeds. I think no 8K streaming, brother. All right, all these fancy terminologies that they try to sell you with routers, and that's how they advertise to the average person out there that maybe doesn't really know technology. They just go based on the words that they see. That this thing is faster, this thing is broader, it's unstoppable. Wi-Fi 6 definitely got to be better than the Wi-Fi 5. What about this 7 over here? Ooh, what does this have? Is it even compatible to my environment? I don't know. But a lot of this stuff is there to sell it to you. And it's, I'm not saying it's not accurate or anything. It's just a bunch of fancy, cool phrases and words just trying to sell a product. But, but it is pretty accurate whenever you just have to go and compare what are you looking for in your environment. And that's the thing about routers, or when it comes to technology is what do I really truly need for my environment, for my network setup? What specs am I going to use? What am I not going to use? You have to ask yourself these questions when it comes to shopping, all right? Let's talk about some of the specs here. So some of the specs on this router here, the maximum data rates, again, 5 gigahertz. But here's the kicker. Up to 2,402 megabits per second with 160 megahertz channels. 2.4 gigahertz up to 574 megabits per second. So it's higher numbers. They're still the same gigahertz, but it's at higher numbers. So it's an upgrade. It's better performance-wise. A total combined of AX3000. All right, that's where they get that. It can process, close to 3,000 gigabits per second. All right, so that's where that rounds up when it comes to looking at this number here, the AX3000. All right, so that's what they're looking at. It's that gigahertz total that it can process. Hardware and memory processor 1.0 gigahertz dual core CPU, 128 megabyte flash, and 512 megabyte RAM. All right, so it's got memory in there that, and I have it programmed to where it restarts itself or reboots itself once a week at 3 a.m. in the morning on one of the days. So I was like, nobody's going to use the internet during that time. So that's a good time to reboot the system, just to clear out that cache and all that stuff out there to help with performance, because you know what? Periodically, you got to reboot your router. 4 antennas for coverages, for beamforming and high power, FEM for enhanced range and stability. I got notes in front of me just so you know, because I'm trying to get this stuff right. All right, so like this Linksys here, the TP-Link also has these 4 ports as well, the LAN ports. It has a WAN port as well, just like both of these models. It has the same USB 3.0 that's on there as well. So nothing has changed there, and of course, it has 1 additional antenna on it. So pretty cool. The other cool features, it has mesh capabilities. It has VPN or open source VPN, whichever you want to do. Sounds like something I wouldn't mind trying out to do an open source through the Linux server. We'll see. Maybe we'll see if we can get that figured out. And of course, VLANing capabilities. All right. It has security that supports both WPA2 and WPA3. So just explain that, like I said, the older devices will probably stick with the WPA2, or devices like your home thermostat and smaller things like that, or your like if we have solar panels, you want to throw that on there, even though I haven't quite figured out how to get that migrated over. I'll have to look into that. I haven't really dove into it. But WPA3 is basically the latest security protocol that's out there. You'll definitely want to do that. But this provides an opportunity where you could have the combo in the interface. You can select both at once, which is great. Has Home Shield, which is, I believe, a subscription-based service. Has a guest network. And my favorite, IoT, or Internet of Things SSIDs. You get a total of 3 SSIDs. And you can split them to gigahertz, which technically 6, if you want to get crazy. All right, technically 6. But yeah, Internet of Things. So what does that mean? Internet of Things, or IoT network SSID, that basically you could throw on your thermostat, your fitness watches, your solar panels, your HVAC system if it uses Wi-Fi, so much more. I mean, it's basically just those things. It isolates them or segments them off your main Wi-Fi connection. So like your main one that you use for everything else, you can segment all those thermostats, fitness watches, solar panels, or whatever that runs Wi-Fi in your home. You can segment those off of the main one and put it on the IoT SSID. And that's what I did here. I did that to my home. I threw my thermostat on there. I even threw my work cell phone on there. So that way it's on a separate SSID. And I've hidden that as well. So you have to go under hidden networks to find it. And you have to type in the name exactly of that SSID and the password. So that's the only way you're going to find it. So there you go. It has a quality of service, meaning you can prioritize which device gets better performance. And of course, my TV took top billing. It's getting the top performance. And so far, I have not seen it buffer. It is just great. It's awesome. It has parental controls, which I believe this one did too. But I haven't really played with it a whole ton. It has stats and reports that you can run, and even has some troubleshooting tools. So troubleshooting tools, like you could ping from it, all right? Like ping network connectivity from the router interface, which is pretty nice. It's pretty handy. If you're like having trouble getting out there, you could do 8.8.8.8 to ping that, see if you can get out there. So yeah. And again, you can schedule weekly reboots to clear out any cache memory to help with performance. And last but not least, the best thing of all is you can back up your configurations. That is amazing. Like if you're out there on the web interface and you make sure you back up a copy of what you have before you start changing and playing around with things, because if you break something, you can re-upload those configs and go back to what it was previously. Awesome. Love that. Love that. So that gives you room to just experiment and go wild because you have a backup copy of your configurations. So, sounds like a lot. It sounds like it has a lot of stuff with this thing, and it does. It has a lot of things to go with this router. I'm not going to be using it all right? I'm not going to use everything just yet, all right? There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of figuring out to do with it and see what I can do with this thing. And that's the fun part about, with learning how to do network stuff like your home routers at home, because you'll be amazed and satisfied with what you have. All right. And picking this up over like Netgear Nighthawk, because I did compare it with that. And trying to figure out which one I want to do. I even ran it through Copilot, give me a comparison between the two. But I went with this because this was more affordable and it basically has good performance and such. And I never used TP-Link. I've had a Netgear before. I've had a Linksys already. Let's give TP-Link a shot. And that's what I did. I decided, let's give this one a try. And honestly, I'm not disappointed in this. This has been fantastic since bringing it into my environment. And it's just so cool. I just love the fact that, I have options to explore VPN. I have options to maybe try the Home Shield. Oh, it is compatible with Amazon Alexa. No, thank you. I will never use that. Just so you all know, I will never use Amazon Alexa. But I love the fact that you can run reports. I love the fact that you can, do parental controls. I love the fact that you can do all sorts of great things. And, performance-wise, it's fantastic. So, let's do a quick speed test run here, shall we? You can actually download the speed tester off of the Microsoft Store down here. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and click go. We're going to see the performance of my internet with this new router. There it goes. Saying about the upper 300 range for the download speeds. So we got 377.60 for download. Oh, okay, we're pushing 4 for upload. Look at that. All right, 422.31 megabits per second for upload speed. So that's really good, actually, for 500 megabits planned with socket fiber right here. But yeah, that's really good. That's a lot better than what it was pulling with the old router. The old router, like I said, was pulling about 200 to 300 range. So I'm very satisfied that it's really helped get the most out of my internet connectivity right here. So that's pretty solid. And you may not care about all those fancy gadgets that is on this router. All you want is just to connect to the internet. I just want Wi-Fi. And that's fantastic. That's perfectly fine because, once upon a time, that's how I was. I just want to get on the internet. All right? But I do highly suggest some recommendations when selecting a home router is making sure you set up your SSIDs, all right, with a new name and password. Get away from those default settings, all right, because anybody can hack those easily, all right? So set up your own personal SSID, get your own password, make sure it's secure. Ensure your firewall is turned on your web interface. Ensure that you select either WPA2 or WPA3, or for this one, you could do a combo, all right? Because let's face it, you'll probably have older devices, so you might be safe just to sit at WPA2 and just call it a day. And right now with the market of picking the difference between do I go Wi-Fi 7 or do I go Wi-Fi 6, stick with 6. Just stick with 6 because 5 is basically going to be obsolete here, if not already. 6 is going to be around for a while. It's going to be around for some time until they start working on making 8, which they probably already are. All right. You'll also want to figure out the square footage of your home if you do not know it already, and select the best router that will make sure you have plenty of coverage for your entire home. Now, if you have a bigger home that's bigger than that coverage, that's where the mesh technology can come into play to where you can expand that out for coverage with another device. All right, and I do highly encourage you, if you can, hardwire. Ethernet cable as much stuff as you can, specifically if you have a desktop computer, if you have a TV, anything that you're able to get a wired connection directly to the router, that is best. That will give you the best performance than Wi-Fi signal will ever give you. It is strictly hardwire for stability. And lastly, enable your guest network for your home for people who visit you. Get them off your mainline internet. Straight up, segment them off, isolate them on a guest network SSID. If you have it, use it. Segment them off your main Wi-Fi. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves a great night and take care.